Coming up next is an interesting report from the healthcare sector titled The Digital Health Ecosystem. This is an Asia-Pacific report co-authored by Gallon Growth, an international digital health market intelligence company, and SPAG Fin Partners. This report pulls data from over 250 million data points and over 12,500 digital health ventures across the globe to highlight emerging market trends, areas of growth and innovation, and market expectations beyond equity funding. The report will be presented by Aman Gupta, Managing Partner APAC at SPAG Fin Partners. After the report, he will be joined on stage by Rajat Goel, co-founder and CEO of IQ Super Speciality Eye Hospitals, and together they will delve deeper into the digital healthcare ecosystem. A graduate from IIM Ahmedabad, Rajat is a first-generation entrepreneur with a diverse corporate and entrepreneurial experience spanning over 30 years. Rajat is passionate about scaling affordable and accessible solutions for complex medical issues. But before we hear from Rajat, I would like to invite Aman to stage to present the report. Aman?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us today to listen to us on this topic. First of all, thank you, Amit, for sort of putting this thing together. I think the first two sessions in the morning have been really, really amazing, very enriching. I think very, I would say, insightful to talk about the fact that how in today's world there is a need for us to bring in intervention to change the way the world is. Whether it's in terms of how we look at the people, loved your session, or from Sherry's perspective, how we really need to look at, really more inclusive and the diverse thing of it. What we will be talking about is just sort of taking it more from a health perspective. Whether you would realize or not, but the health systems across the world is fragmented. We are at the stage where we don't sort of interact with the health in the way it's required, but as you sort of grow older, you sort of start to see that we need to interact with the health to ensure that we live a better lifestyle. But in this whole world, the continuum of the care, when you sort of look at from the first understanding your health needs to your ability to go for the right diagnosis, for your ability to sort of look at the way you get treated, or you're looking from a post-treatment part of it. Its whole system works in a silo. They are not sort of joined together. It's not something which is kind of a systemic way or a thread which sort of connects our journey. And that's what we talk about continuum of care. But why in this particular platform where we are talking about reputation, we are talking about communications, we are talking about other aspects, why is this particular topic relevant? And I think the biggest factor is that as all of us who are in this room who are formed the group of called the communicators, the role of communications in building a healthier world by the power which is bestowed on us, that how we can really make the audiences or the people we engage with or the people or the stakeholders who we talk to, how we are able to make them understand their needs, how we are able to make them understand the fact that you need to be aware of your health needs. You need to be aware of the fact that you need to ask your providers, your doctors, your family that, yes, I need certain things. I have a problem. The first step in anything is to identify the problem. And that can only happen because we are able to communicate that need. So therefore, one thing which I have understood in the last kind of 22 years of being in the health communication is the power which we have. We are able to bring the change in the lives of the people almost on an everyday basis. And if you recognize that fact, you will realize that what we are going to talk about today is such a relevant thing. It's not just about the industry in which we are operating. We need to think beyond. We need to think the fact that each of us in this room can make a meaningful difference in this world, in the lives of the people, and therefore it's not just a job we are doing. We have a larger purpose in our life. And I think once we realize then the fact that when we come to do a certain things in our life, we know that it's not just about getting the things. We are trying to make our world a healthier place by really making a meaningful conversations, bring the impact which we are looking for. So let me start by sort of bringing in, some of the data points. And, the reason why these data points are important and the way it's done is that sort of let's look at the world in the past. Let's look at a kind of a pre-COVID. So COVID, all of us have sort of gone through the pandemic, which impacted all of us in different ways. But one thing which the COVID did was kind of a positive was it brought in a change the way the digital health has become instrumental in the way it's getting delivered. So how health is getting delivered, how it's getting accessed, and how we are engaging with the health. The digital health ecosystem has changed it. And what this report will showcase is that the extent it is sort of doing and how it will continue to make it happen. And then when we sort of get into a more deeper dive with Rajat, we'll see the impact it is doing and how we really need to take that thing forward. And I hope this works. This is supposed to be like this. Okay. So first of all, just like a quick introduction about who we are as SPAG Fin. We are integrated marketing services, communication and advocacy firm. Over the course of the last 8 to 9 years since we have been there, we have been deeply focused on health ecosystems. We engage with different stakeholders, whether it's payers, media, communicators, patient groups, healthcare professionals, and all really to sort of see that how can we deliver a business impact for our clients. And the business impact is not just in terms of profit and loss. It's about really ensuring that we're able to make a world a healthier place. So whether we are working with WHO on talking about why the rumors and misinformation can sort of have a negative impact and how we can really bring in a change there, or working with the Gates Foundation about the immunizations, tuberculosis, and how we're really able to make people to go and seek the right interventions, or bringing in a newer, innovative treatments, medical devices, and so on and so forth. So that's really is where we are. We are now present across Asia Pacific, across more than 10 offices with more than 175 people. So that's quickly just about who we are. Looking at the report per se, the top headlines, if you look at it from an Asia Pacific perspective, in the year 2022, we had about 118 regulatory filing. The Asia Pacific received about $5.8 billion of venture funding. There was a reduction in the mergers and acquisitions by about 33%. China really took a dip by about 66% in the amount of funding which went in. However, if we look at 2022 to 2023, we believe there is a kind of a resilience, there is a growth which is happening. Also, we need to understand that 2022 is a kind of an year because it sort of came after 2021, which was a huge year. Like 2021, the year of COVID really ensured that there was a huge number of investment which happened in the digital health space. So the top headline, if we just look at it, the overarching cumulative global digital health funding on an year-to-year basis has been increasing. However, 2021 is kind of an outlier year, which we've sort of, as you can see on the screen, with close to $38 billion investments going in the North America, or about 9.8 billion in Asia Pacific, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the 2022 compared to 2021. It's been a dip, but as we look at it, it's kind of an ongoing exercise here. Now, how does the digital health looks into it? So digital health is not about digital in a communication form. Digital in this case is how technologies are changing the way health is getting delivered to you. So from digital health to digital therapeutics, the way this will change the way the whole health ecosystem is something which, what we are hearing today is something which will sort of change in the next couple of years. But if you just look at where the funding is going in, so if we look at from a therapeutic area, so the disease areas where it is, it's going in cancer, so oncology, heart, cardiovascular disease, therefore, gastroenterology, infectious disease, and urology. So that's where it is. The two areas where it has sort of, really going main is the oncology and the cardiovascular. So cancer and heart is where it's more going in. But if we look at just from the health centers part of it, in terms of, so beyond the therapy, where it's sort of going in, research solutions, online marketplaces. So if we look at an online marketplaces, I don't know how many of you people use platforms like Tata 1mg or a Practo or something like that for. So how many of you guys use that platforms? So just consider the things like that. Before Tata 1mg or Practo, we would still look for a chemist next door. You will go with your prescription to say, I need this particular drug. The person may or may not have it. So then you go to a next chemist, and we have, I think I've gone through that part. The second part was also, you don't really know that what you're getting, is it really the real thing? Is it counterfeit or a spurious? This is how digital has changed. You upload your prescription, you put it up, you order in, the drugs gets delivered, you are sure about the quality. That's kind of an online marketplace, but that's only one thing from the aspect of delivering pharmacy. But if you now consider and start engaging with these platforms, you see health in its totality can be delivered across. So if we just look at from an ecosystem insights perspective, and when we say ecosystem, it's about where these private and active ventures are. So it's kind of sort of on a kind of a cumulative volume, it's sort of kind of a dipping on a stuff. But the good part is that Asia Pacific is now where the second largest where the funding is going in after North America. It's ahead of Europe, Middle East, and Africa ecosystem. The other part which is that we always look at the health systems, digital health as a startups, which are working in isolation. But what's really happening is that most of the corporates are realizing the power of innovation, what's happening. So there's a huge number of corporate partnerships which are happening between the digital health ecosystem or the startups or the companies which are really trying to bring in that change and how they can work. So whether it is my pharmaceutical companies, medical devices companies, insurance companies, each of them are looking at how they can sort of really make a huge change the way they are able to deliver the health to their ecosystem. The regulatory filings, because that's the good part of sort of saying that is the venture working, because from just a proof of concept to really looking at really taking it from a research filings part of it, there is kind of a huge aspect where it's happening. So it's happening in remote devices, it's happening in medical diagnostics, the whole wellness part of it, or online marketplaces. So this is where the larger share of the funding is going into. From an investment insights perspective, I think the good part is in the Asia Pacific, the China, of course, took the majority of it. It has dipped in 2022, but India is emerging where the maximum number of investments have happened. In terms of when we say number, it's kind of a dollar value which is sort of coming in. And I think that's relevant, that's kind of something which is visible to us. So from, as I said, Tata 1mgs, Practo, Pharmizis, these are some of the stuffs. But then you have players like an HealthPlex, you have things like a Medica Bazaars, you have the other companies which have really changing the way the whole health ecosystem is. It's not just business to consumer part, but there's a business to business part, there's a business to the government part of it. And I think that's where the good part is. But besides the two main economies, we are seeing the other economies taking a big leap in investment. So whether it's Japan, whether it's Singapore, there is a big hike which is happening up there. So you will see in its totality. And digital health is not something which is restricted by a geography. So any innovation which will happen in another part of the world, you will see it sort of coming in into this part of the world. The overarching health funding is sort of happening on a year on the stuff. This is something which I have sort of talked about. The good part is that as a part of the overarching, the Asia Pacific has remained a very, very active geography where it's happening. And this is kind of a just quarter on quarter, so I'll not bore you with this data. It's just to sort of look at that the interest and the relevance in this ecosystem has remained high. There are more and more companies just saying we need to sort of look at this, we need to explore, and we need to sort of get into more funding here. Just from the sub-regions part of it, I think the China has remained very active. South Asia, of course, is led from the India part of it. Northeast Asia or Southeast Asia is more Indonesia, where we're sort of looking at it, and Oceania is like more like in the other part of that. If you look at the large funding events, which we sort of see these things, anything which is about $100 million, they are kind of it's happening, but not to an extent which we would see in any other particular sector. But we think that in the coming years, as some of these innovations of these digital health companies scale up, you will see more of this kind of happening as they're sort of getting more prime here. From a cluster focus side of it, now this is an interesting slide because when we think digital health, we may think, few companies, but overarching, this is how the the clusters look like. So you have companies which are in health management solutions, which largely will look into hospitals, pharmacy, physicians, clinics, EHR, PHR, to health services search, to patient solutions. Just to give an example, a couple of weeks back, we were in Singapore and we were sort of presenting this report in partnership with AWS. And one of the digital health companies which we talked to, what they have done is that now you can have an ICU at home. So if somebody who is suffering from a severe disease and needs to be part of an ICU, the person need not be transported to a tertiary hospital system. It can be done at home in partnership with the larger hospitals. Look at the convenience part of it. You don't really need to sort of be there, looking at the stuff. It's happening at the convenience of it. You still have the technology, you have the complete remote monitoring, and so on and so forth. So these are the innovations which are happening. But if we look at in this room or to our families and the friends, people will not really know what these things are happening. And therefore, what I said in the beginning, the power of communications sort of comes into play here, right? Innovation can happen, but if the innovation does not reach the respective audiences, or is not able to bring in the change, the impact, what we are kind of sort of looking for, then the innovation is of least relevance for us. So I talked about the different cluster. This is where the main sort of funding is going in. So research solutions is where it's sort of going in. There's an online marketplace, medical diagnostics, patient solutions. So that's kind of where the clusters are working and where the venture funding is going in. This is just kind of a snapshot of some of the big big companies where the funding has gone into. And this is largely as based on the different clusters which we have. So, and this is at an Asia Pacific side of it. So you will see there's a lot of innovations, lots of companies which are kind of active in this particular space. Just from a therapeutic, so these are clusters, but then we also look at which diseases and so on and so forth, which looking into, and I think this I did talk about, so oncology, cardiovascular, gastroenterology, what's happening. So what we can definitely say at this time is that as a larger kind of a people, population, masses, whatever you may call ourselves, which we in the room, or our families, friends, parents, the future is something which is much more brighter in the way the health will be accessed, delivered, and how we could possibly be sure that in the coming years, we will have a better access to innovation and technology to deliver healthcare part of it. These are some of the key companies who are kind of from a spotlight perspective, largely in terms of where they are from a maturity, how they are really engaging with the people, where they have reached on their overarching life cycle. Mix of the companies in Asia Pacific, you will see some of them from India side. So Pharmacy, HealthCard, these are two which are Indian ventures which have really matured, and largely in terms of in the marketplace side of it. Biopharmis is in digital therapeutics, Singapore-led company, but it's there now pretty big in the US side of it. It sort of changes the way you look at diabetes or respiratory diseases. Goki again is a very much an Indian-specific organization. So with that, in terms of what's kind of a next, which we are kind of looking at it, we believe, based on the data we have, that there will be a further increase in the investment. We are sort of looking at kind of more than 20% or increase in the unique investors will drive the further growth in 23 and beyond. There is a more increasing partnerships which are happening. So it's not just about private equity ventures, innovative companies, but more partnerships between the mature companies in the biopharma, medical devices, and so on and so forth, which is going to happen. And there is a larger number of acquisitions which is going to happen. So there's going to be consolidation which you will see sort of happening per se. So that's the kind of a landscape which we have in the digital health systems. And I think the role which we as a communicator needs to play is that we need to understand, because it's not just about communication, it's about how we are looking at changing the world, making it from a fragmented ecosystem to be a more seamless system which is able to take care of is able to sort of take care of us, our families, our parents, our kids, and so on and so forth, and ensure that we are able to have a quality of life. We are able to take care of the growing challenges which are sort of happening in today's world. The overarching ecosystem of the profiles have kind of changed, how it's able to sort of help us in that front. With that, I'm going to sort of stop on the presentation part of it. And this is where we sort of take a deeper dive on some real examples of what's really happening. And with that, I would like to invite my friend, somebody who I have known for since the beginning of my comms profession, Rajat Goel, co-founder and CEO of IQ Super Speciality Hospitals. That's one of his ventures. But besides that, he has a new venture which we will kind of talk about. Thank you. So Rajat was my first client. He was with Bausch & Lomb as head of the business. I was one of the new rookies in the PR industry. And it's been now 23 years since we have known each other and grown from being a kind of a client agency relations to more of a friend, somebody who discusses things, a business partner, and so on and so forth. So it's really amazing to have him with me on this particular platform. I think this is the first time we are doing something like this.
Yeah, actually, thank you. I was also a rookie. I was product manager and communication head for Bausch & Lomb. So I was also learning communication. He was also learning. And we had a lot of choice to make mistake, primarily because media was at that point in time only print. So we could actually get away with a lot of issues that we had at that point in time. So
I think Rajat, I think the first part is that when you think from a digital health, you have been in the health systems since like decades now, and ages, right? And in the last so many years, you have definitely changed the way the eye care has been, and now you're on a new venture where the whole mental health is being sort of done. So how do you see the digital health bringing in the change in the way the continuum of care would happen?
So when I came in, I realized that I'm coming to a corporate some kind of corporate affair, and I have come after a long time for this kind of meeting. As an entrepreneur, we don't get to come to these kinds of things. So I will make it quite relevant to all you guys, primarily because health is a subject which is relevant to everyone. So let's say in the last 15 years, we started,
2008.
2007 we started.
Yeah.
At that point in time, we didn't know what we are going to do. The only thing that we wanted to do was to provide world-class eye care at affordable price in smaller cities, because we all belong to smaller cities and we wanted our parents to have dignity. Over the last 15 years, what I have seen is that now health has become very inclusive. First of all, the first thing that Aman showed was on health information systems. So the heart of health is about how documentation happens. Let's say if you go to a doctor and if he writes prescription on a piece of paper and you bring it back, he also forgets and you also forget. So therefore there is no continuum. So first thing that we realized approximately 10 years or 12 years back was that unless until we invest in a good EMR, that's what we call electronic medical record system, it will be very difficult to keep record of each and every patient and the continuum of care that we give. So the heart of this is about having a very digital system where you can keep patients' record and you can refer to it. Now, when we started at that point in time, it was about a single company doing it. Interestingly, now government has got into it. Now, like UPI, government is also creating a platform or a protocol where all hospitals, all doctors will have to, over a period of time, mandatorily move to common platform so that all of us will have now there are approximately 38 crores. Recently, I just saw today, there are 38 crores people who have already onto that platform where they call it ABHA number, Ayushman Bharat Health, whatever number. With that number, you can easily transport your prescription from one doctor to another with your medical records, and all that issue of I don't trust your diagnostics, you have to get it done again, will also go off, primarily because all the credible sources like Dr. Lal Path Lab, etc., are part of that. So, in near future, all of us will be carrying a wallet where all of our records will not only be from IQ or from wherever, but from all hospitals, so that you will have your comprehensive health in one particular place, and you can transfer all the issues that you have, all that data to the other person, any doctor, and he will make informed choice rather than going by whatever you say. He'll make an informed choice on the basis of last 15, 20 years of journey that you have gone through. So that is one thing, that it is becoming very inclusive. Government is putting a lot of effort. In fact, government has started another thing called e-Sanjeevani, which is call center. It's in health, it is all of you are communication specialists. It's very important for government to start projecting that it's okay to call. It's okay to call and get advice from a doctor on a phone, and it is as credible as you going and doing physically. So approximately 11 crores consultations have happened over e-Sanjeevani. At this moment, today, around 60,000 consultations have already happened during the day. So I think what I am seeing is that health is becoming a continuum. It is coming as a comprehensive package to all of us, and government is driving a big deal of it in the last couple of years. It also helps government primarily because today government is misdirecting their efforts. There may be TB in one particular place, but when they allocate resources, they are allocating to all the states. So they can allocate the resource to that particular place to eradicate that particular issue rather than putting it all over the place.
And also when you look at this, portability part, which is sort of talked about, we have heard portability happening in the telecom sector, which definitely revolutionized the way the whole telecom was. We are discussing it about in the insurance side that it should be happening. So currently, what's the state of this portability? And how do you think it could change the way the whole health industry ecosystem is? And where does the role of communication come into this?
So I'll give you a very specific example. For below poverty line, government has started one scheme called Ayushman Bharat, where each and every person, around 50 crore people, are eligible to take surgical intervention up to 5 lakhs of rupees. Now they have given card there, in fact they have one registration number, and that person can go anywhere in the country and get treatment done, primarily because the number is portable. Now same thing that they have done there will happen to all of us. So therefore that number will be relevant and all the data will be there. And once you have data, you can go and it will be democratized. It is not that somebody is holding your prescription or your tests. It is you who have it, and whoever gives you the best service will have that. So it is happening very fast. In fact, I will encourage all of you to actually go on ABHA and create your own ID, primarily because most of the companies are now forced to go there, and you will get most of your data on that particular wallet.
So that's sort of coming in from the way the government is doing, and I think it's a great journey which has sort of started in the last couple of years. But from your own personal journey, so you have one venture which has sort of matured, and there's a new venture which you just sort of kind of started. So in both of these cases, how have you sort of, as an entrepreneur, brought in the digital health as a part of your thinking, and how do you think it's sort of helping deliver a better outcomes, and how you're able to sort of engage with your different stakeholders by making that kind of digital health interventions?
So to give a context, of 15, 16 years back, we started this company IQ with a very specific objective of delivering best world-class eye care at affordable price in smaller cities. 16 years later, I was looking at the investment insights. I don't know how relevant is that, but we have raised $40 million in IQ over a period of time, and we have delivered care to approximately 75 lakh patients, trained 5,000 people. I think the key issue today is, let's say, if I were to talk about my new venture, and that is still not 100% digital, but let's say the new venture that we started, I think, and that's where communication experts' point of view will be very relevant. 2 years back, one of my youngest brother-in-law, who's a good industrialist, committed suicide. He just went and shot himself. And in the family, there are a lot of health experts. The eldest brother-in-law's wife is a PhD psychology, and we have friend who runs psychiatrist, rehabilitation center. Despite that, this happened. So we realized that mental health is an issue that is very near to all of us. It's actually happening to all of us every day. And it is not only that, but it's also happening to our parents who are right now, they're living alone. It's happening there. So one year back, some months back, we realized that it's important to create a platform which is digital, 100% digital, so that we are able to provide, services to everyone. Now, mental health itself has basic issues that there is a psychiatrist, there is psychologist, there is clinical psychologist. On one side, in eye we didn't have a problem that that there was a demand. अगर आप चश्मा लगा हुआ है तो पता है problem है. लेकिन वो capacity की problem थी. Whereas here, patient doesn't know that he has a problem, and we have a problem of capacity. So how do you create an interface from both sides, which is communicating right to the patients as well as educating psychiatrists and psychologists on the platform? So 1 year back, we started this full stack platform, which is into serious mental illness. And to give you a few examples, my mother, she was having brain strokes, and she went to an extent where she was absolutely immobile. Now, how do you take her to a hospital? How do you ensure that her daily, vitals are going to the doctor? Now so therefore, there is a EEG machine that came home every day. There was a physiotherapist who came every day. All her, 83 years, all her tracking was happening through a digital watch. And we were able to bring her back from that state to a state where she's absolutely fine, primarily because she was getting tracked every day. With the treatment, she was getting tracked every day. Cut to it, in our community, there are a lot of managing directors. One managing director was in such a big issue, he resigned before COVID, but he didn't have anything to do, that while I was speaking to him about and talking about mental health, he disclosed that over the last 1 year, he has, in his fit of anger, destroyed approximately 20 lakh worth of goods, and he at least twice thought of committing suicide. There was another managing director who was telling me that his son, 23 years, went to UK and become alcoholic. So I think the critical issue that I find, and when I spoke to a lot of corporates, I realized that people have mental health assistance, but nobody takes it, primarily with the fear that if they take it, they'll be branded having mental health issues. Now, in that kind of situation, how do you bring in a system which is communicative on the one side, and that is where I think the role of all communicators sitting here is. On the other side, how do you bring in confidentiality, accessibility, affordability, and extremely good quality care? That is what I think the critical issue today is, that how do you bring all that and communicate that to the people so that there is enough credibility in the system. So I don't know whether I've gone over primarily because I'm pretty passionate about it, but the critical system today of digital is primarily to bring in credibility. Primarily because we are so used to our earlier system of access that we don't have credibility over doing things on a digital system, keeping health records, etc.
So just sort of extending that thought, and I think completely agree with you that even in the larger population, which we may think is kind of a literate people who are sort of reading things or reading newspaper, who are discussing on themselves, there are certain topics which are not discussed. They are not the ones which will come in, and specifically when it comes to issues which are more stigmatized in the larger world, the role of communicators is there, and I think that's what I sort of discussed, that each of us who are in this particular room, we need to be, really feel proud of the role which we can play. It's not just a job which we are doing. It's something which is much beyond that, which we are doing. Now, from your perspective, you talk about credibility, and we, I think, use the word more trust, that when you have that thing. So today still, when you have an option of doing a telemedicine consultation with a doctor, And we're not just talking about the issues which are stigmatized, but talking about a normal thing. The usual thinking is that I want to go and meet the doctor in person, right? Because I don't think the person will be able to do so. And you have been at the forefront of communication. I still remember when we started our work together, you were the champion to sort of say that I know the role of a communication, the role of public relations, and how it can really change the perception, the behavior in the larger ecosystem. So how do you think in today's world, where there is a shift happening in the way the health will get delivered, where more and more interventions happening, we're talking about going beyond the pill. It's not just the fact that I will take a pill and I'll be fine. I need to ensure that I am able to take a more holistic care of the people. How do you see the role happening of a communication? What are those factors? What shall be the things which needs to be done by an organization? And they should partner along with the communication team to deliver this trust, credibility, showcase the value, relevance which they have, and also highlight the expertise which that particular venture has to build the further trust on it.
So I will actually go a step down and say how as an individual, I think corporate is part of individual, how as an individual you can leverage all that. So today, if you go to let's say one platform or speak to a doctor and he wants you to get tests done, it can get done at home. If you have to do diagnostics, it can be done at home. If you want intervention, it can be done at home. So health has become very accessible, and it's important right now and the key point is that if you can do it at the level which is before the level when it becomes critical, that's the best point. So today, you have devices like digital health, watches, etc. You have doctors, you have digital therapeutics like a lot of companies like SugarFit, etc., that can reverse your diabetes. So I think as an individual, if everyone can start leveraging all this and then start talking about difficult subjects, at least in organization, and then use those platforms to talk about case studies of people who have used it and then gone forward. I think that is where the communication and start trusting today, because ecosystem has become very robust, very credible. There are a lot of regulations around it so that confidentiality is not going out. So if people start using it more and more, and once we start using it more and more, that will get percolated to the masses. So that's what I think the room here can do, is to first of all find it credible, use it, and then talk about it. Talk about difficult issues like mental health, etc., within the space of organization. Talk about it outside the organization. That is where I think the intervention of community can help move this forward.
So going sort of a little more deeper down from a communication perspective, and taking your role as somebody who would possibly work with a communication agency or a communication team, the last few years we have also seen the overarching the channel ecosystem through which you connect to your different stakeholders and audiences has sort of gone much more multi-channel, right? From the time, as we said, when you and I started, we had a very limited media and we knew only we need to talk to these people. At that time also, we definitely looked at, depending upon which state, which city, so therefore looking at a more relevant media. So in today's world, when it comes to health as a topic per se, between the traditional print to a broadcast to more social to more other digital platforms which are there, in your journey, when you talk to the different audiences, where do you think is the channels where the people consume more information when it comes to health, and which are the channels where they or which are the people they sort of look at, which they trust more to sort of have that believability, saying I'm sort of getting the information, the somebody which I will believe into?
Very interestingly, Aman, when we started, I think we would get one press release made and then release it, and then do some media events and get away with giving half a page report. Today, I think the best thing that we can do is to create, everybody has to create content. And that content can be distributed everywhere. And the content has to be created by the expert. So in this case, if the content is created by the doctor with testimonials of patients in health, then that carries the maximum leverage. Plus, today, Google My Business and ratings have become very important. So let's say today in IQ, although we are doing eye health and we are doing eye health in smaller cities, but to my surprise, what works is Google, ratings. So therefore, how do you get more testimonials? How do you get more content made by our doctors and deliver it? We have a communication manager where we are now have customized message for each and every one. Let's say we send a video, but today technology is available where you can customize the name of the person there. You can actually customize the date of his coming. You can customize the disease for which he's coming. So therefore, I think it's becoming more personalized. It is becoming more focused on that particular thing where the person comes and actually looks at what he wants. And if your content is relevant to him, and it has to be distributed across all. Let's say you should be available in Instagram, you should be available on YouTube, you should be available on Twitter, you should be available in Facebook. So I think, so today the communication has become so complex that unless until you are doing it 360 degree, you will be lost out primarily because you will be crowded out from there. So in health it is becoming, and apart from that, I think gamification is becoming very important. So unless until it is exciting, it is gameful, your communication access to people will be very limited primarily because they'll find it very boring and they'll move out of it. So I think it's becoming very complex. It requires tremendous amount of expertise. It's not that now I can run PR. We need to have a very strong PR department, communication department. We need to have someone who can, and in health, the basic problem is that you also have a lot of issues. You can have one negative report and it can wipe out your reputation. So reputation management is also a red flag that needs to be managed on a real-time basis. In our case, when we started, it used to be somebody's red flag, somebody's emergency. So I think somebody has to manage that. Maybe some companies having that issue. So R used to be that you manage 2-3 reporters and you're out. I think today managing the person who's out there is very difficult. So you need to have reputation management going all across. You need to be very humble and integrity has to be high. If you have committed a mistake, you need to actually be very modest to talk about the real issue. So I think it's become very out there. It is very open, transparent, and hence the role of a complex media person who's into communication is now, and that's where I think communication experts will make a lot of money.
hopefully. But I think, just sort of extending that, over the last so many years, one of the things which has been conversed within our community is that how a communication person is usually seen to be brought in when things happen, not something which is sort of part of at the core of the strategies, not something which is part of the C-suite level, right? So I'm thinking my strategy and thinking my business. Having said that, looking and hearing you, it does sort of make a case for the fact that as a communication person, it's a role which is not a periphery, it's not something which is an afterthought. It has to be at the core of the business per se. So how do you think, and how do you believe that the industry can move towards that? How can the business leaders, not just entrepreneurs, but larger business leaders, they need to sort of bring in this person or this team at the center?
So Aman is prompting me to talk about the scam that we both created when we started IQ. So IQ was a very small company. We didn't have much money. We just generated some money. And we, a lot of good professionals came together and said, let's put a lofty ideal together. And we said, let's create 100 hospitals. And then Aman's job was to go and sell it to media. And suddenly, we had half a page report talking about 100 hospitals being created over the next 3 years. 100 crores will be invested in the next 3 years. Our competitors are, they were, and we didn't have money. It was about the same thing. That if you have seen, I think in our generation there was a movie by Amitabh Bachchan where he says, "आज मेरे पास इतना भी पैसा नहीं है, but त्रिशूल मैं वो building खरीदूंगा, वही वाला हमारा था, आज पैसा नहीं है." But the kind of report that they created, kind of news that they created was very exciting, and that helped us to get first investment of $2 million. So I think it's a question of if communication person is at the heart and center of things, then you can actually use that to create a story which will help you sell your cause before the cause happens, and hence investment can come in. Good quality professionals will join you primarily because they will also think that the image is large. Over a period of time, the image will become large. So I think the companies that don't do it will not generate the kind of growth that we have seen over the last 15 years. So it's a question of communication expert being heart and center of it, not only to manage red flags, but also to create a strategy to project the right values, project the right mission of a company, and attract the right kind of talent, attract right kind of customers to it. That's what I think, and that's what we did. Without having any money, I think we created a great organization and great hangama around it.
Yeah, I think at that time what we heard in the morning, the shape for both of us was swiggle, like have the big picture in mind, talk about it before we act on it.
So I'll also give you one interesting story. I have 1 minute. So when I was product manager Bosch & Lomb, we had a problem in Bombay that the trade was against it, so we couldn't run a scheme. So therefore, Aman and we brainstormed and we said, let's do a fashion show there. Oh, fashion, contest. So we did a fashion contest, and we got a girl who was very good looking. Sohini. And then we said, yeah, we have this, what do we do? We have a girl who's attractive, who can actually drive media. And then Aman comes up with a campaign, let's go to 7 cities and talk about her 19-year-old girl's ambition. So we went to around 7-8 cities and got front page for that girl. HT City was prime and HT this. We got front page cover where Bosch & Lomb suddenly became a big brand. And that girl eventually went on to become a great model, from a girl. So that was her journey. But we got such a high hype by spending only a few lakhs, which we would not have been able to do in few crores at that time. So I think it's a question of creativity that communication people can come up with, which can actually take the brand to the next level.
Perfect, sounds good. Thanks, Rajat. But yeah, so I think that just kind of an end. Couple of things I think what we can take away from today's conversation. One is the digital health is going to the next big thing, and it is going to change the way health will be delivered to all of us. And I think as all of individuals, we should be really proud of the fact that India is at the forefront of it. Having said that, I think all of us as a communicator, we have a huge role to play, both in terms of using the power which we have to make this world a healthier place, be at the forefront of really building that awareness and education and sensitization among the larger population to say, this is the kind of your health needs, this is who you need to talk to. And I think besides that, as Rajat said, I think each of us as a communicator, we have that knack of storytelling. We are the ones who can really help business to grow. We are the ones who could really help make it to a level which nothing else can sort of do. So I think with that kind of thing, I'm going to sort of, take a pause, I think, and would like to thank Rajat. We still have about like a 2 minutes, 26 seconds remaining. So if any questions which you may have, for Rajat, I think he'll be happy to sort of answer that particular thing. Otherwise, we are happy to let
Guys,
the 2 minutes go back to you.
Now in India, we don't do live question answers. We only do this kind of, rehearsed conversation.
No.
Because the Prime Minister has told us not to do it.
We have few questions planted. So yeah, so that's the thing. So any question which you may have, we'll be happy to sort of answer from the stage. But otherwise, Rajat will be around here for a while to sort of, hopefully, depending upon what his next thing is.
Oh, the first planted question. Okay.
Go ahead, Seema.
I'm Seema Ahuja, and I'm from Biocon. I'm the global head of communications and corporate brand for the group. Coming to my question, you didn't really share with us what is your mental health digital platform that you spoke about?
In mental health, there are approximately 13 crore people in the country who are into serious mental illness. Serious mental illness includes, I think this is a little boring because we're going a little technical. It includes 25% population which is into Gen Z starting from 1997 to 2003, who's right now getting affected by a issue called I'm not good enough and personality disorder.
Yeah, I was just asking the name. You said you've rolled out a new digital platform.
Our company, which is called Emo Needs. Emo
Needs.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought the group will benefit
okay,
from
so
that.
We are into, the company name is Emo Needs. We do a comprehensive psychiatry, psychology, monthly program, and we handhold to reduce relapse dramatically. So in the last 45 days, we have saved approximately 14 people from committing suicide. So that's...
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. You have been an amazing audience. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Not a topic which comes up so often on platform like this, but we, as SPHFN, health has been our core since the time we started. So we thought it would be something which you will find of interest. So that's why, and thanks Rajat for joining us here on this particular platform. Thank you guys, you have been a lovely audience.